Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending where in the world you are. And thank you for joining me today because we're going to talk about a subject that's very important, and that is how to revert underperformance in your teams, in your companies. Now, if you're experiencing underperformance yourself, this might not be the best place to be right now because that's something very, very personal, very specific. And in that case, I suggest that you and I get together on a one-on-one conversation where I can guide you, give you some tips, experience for 25 years without any strings attached. Now, if you're here because you are a CEO or HR professional or C-level executive with a team, independently if your teams are leaders and have other teams, or if your teams don't have any other teams, they're not leaders. So this is for you. You're in the right place because today we're going to talk about how to change around this underperformance. So let's start by saying, by the way, I'd love this to be an interactive session. So if you're not driving or walking or doing something that doesn't let you tap in the message box, please let me know where in the world are you joining today. I know many of you that enrolled yourselves to attend are in Sweden, where I am placed. I'm in Sweden. I'm north of Stockholm, just a few minutes north of Stockholm. But let me know the rest of you that maybe haven't signed up and still are listening where you are from. And underperformance, by the way, is something that happens in every company, every industry, every part of the world. So this phenomena is not specific for any geography or industry, as I say, or company size. Everyone experiences underperformance. Maybe not at the same time. I'm very happy to hear sometimes leaders telling me, I have a fantastic team and everyone is overperforming. And I love to hear that, even if it means less work for me. Of course, I love to hear that. I want people to succeed. As I know that if you're here, it's because you also share that passion of wanting others to succeed in what they're doing. So understanding underperformance, I would say, is the number one step, because underperformance might have different causes. Even if the phases, the symptoms are the same, the employees feel like unengaged, unmotivated, have a hard time prioritizing. They never seem to be reaching the level of delivery that is expected. They might seem a little bit absent-minded in meetings. So those are the phases of underperformance. Some of the phases, those are the symptoms. What we need to focus on is understanding the root, because there might be different situations causing this underperformance, and understanding this will help you solve the situation. It's like having a Rubik's Cube. I don't know how many of you have tried to solve it without the algorithm. You're just trying and trying and trying and trying, and it's very hard. Once you have the algorithm, you can solve it in 3-4 minutes. If you're very, very skilled, you can solve it under 1 minute. The same applies to underperformance. If you have a clear process, if you know what to do and in what order, it's not so easy. I can tell you that we have lots of sunshine stories of working with leaders in different industries that they managed to turn around underperformance just in a couple of months. Doesn't need to take years. Some of them have even seen results under less than 4 weeks. They start to see the results because they start doing the right things. They having this understanding of what's causing the underperformance makes it so much easier. So let me focus. There are a couple of things. We have, I think, like identified 25 causes of underperformance. And by the way, we are sharing much of our work completely for free here on LinkedIn. You see my name, Lizzie Claesson. Or if you visit our webpage at Brighter Leaders, you will find lots and lots of materials that we're sharing completely for free. So let me today focus on leadership, which is around the number second or third cause of underperformance. Your own leadership as a CEO, as an HR professional, as C-level executive. So I want to empower you and let you know that if you unconsciously are the cause of this underperformance, you are also the one that has the power to turn it around. Okay, I have someone in the chat. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Julia. So, in your leadership, there might be a couple of things that, once again, as I say, you're doing, maybe not being completely conscious of it, that is causing this underperformance. And some of the things that might be happening is that you're talking to your team members, so you're informing, you're talking, you're having the dialogue, but the conversations, the communication is not getting through. So something we see quite often is that, like, the conversation is going past each other. You're not really meeting. So this is something that you could check in your conversations with your team if that is happening to you. Because this might create an unclarity and expectations. This might create a situation where your people in your team have a certain skill set that they might not be using completely in their job. And that might be creating some kind of erosion in their motivation. Or there could also be situations of people in your team having some personal problems or situations that you might not be aware of. And to be honest, maybe you don't need to be aware of either, but just knowing that they are having a rough time outside of work without any, not prompting into asking exactly what it is. If they don't open up by themselves, it's going to help you support them in the best possible way. And something that we notice very often in teams and in organizations in general is the difficulty to prioritize. Sometimes things are happening very fast. There are lots of fun projects for a company to engage into, and lots of creative ideas. And then suddenly there's not enough time or enough people or enough resources to take care of everything. And everything is good things for the company, good things for the clients, and good things for the employees. But suddenly that turns into a feeling of overwhelm. There's always so much to do. New things are popping up all the time. I never have enough time. I'm working so many hours. My life work balance is not ideal. And this becomes like an erosion in the motivation. And of course, in the level of engagement and performance. So in your leadership, some of the things you can do, as I said, is be aware, number one, are you in your communication meeting with each individual team member, or do you have the feeling that your conversations, your communication is going this way? So you are saying something, but you get the feeling that it's not really caught in its essence. Or your employee is saying something and they might have the feeling that they're not completely understand, causing a feeling of not being really seen. And this, of course, creates at a neural level. We like working very much with neuroscience latest findings because we can learn so much of understanding how our brain works. And your brain, my brain, everybody's brain on a physical level looks pretty much the same. A healthy brain, of course. And at a neural level, this causes a dissonance, a neurological dissonance, right? So this is what I'm hearing is expected from me, but this is what I think is expected from me, or this is what I wish was expected from me, and they're not really aligned. And this lack of alignment in expectations is something that creates this neural dissonance that creates as well this feeling of not being completely motivated, because the brain has a hard time with everything that's not aligned, in the same way that I'm sure you have perceived, you being a CEO, HR professional, C-level executive working with so many people, that you perceive how sometimes there is not alignment between what you're hearing someone say and what their body language is sending. So they might be sending you some kind of message with their body language, another message verbal, and that creates also this synchrony. And this is perceived by a brain. Our brain is very smart in that term. So what else could you be doing as a leader in order to turn around this underperformance, understanding what is the cause? So we talked about the communication to see if there is a mismatch in expectations, or there might be a mismatch in the skills and knowledge that the people in your team are willing to use and the ones that they're actually using. Checking this in short meetings, short one-on-ones that you may have with them, and you're probably going to see that some team members need more time and some team members need less time, and some team members like getting a little bit more personal in the conversation, while other team members like keeping to the strictly professional. And some team members might be very clear in the way of communicating their needs and their thoughts, while other team members might use many words and might be more difficult to understand what's the essence in what they are saying. So here's where all of your leadership skills come in terms of being very highly skilled communicational wise. And I like holding these live LinkedIn events to give a lot of value, not to sell, but of course it would be wrong of me to not to tell you that we do have a communicational assessment, a leadership assessment, a leadership gap assessment that you can find in our webpage. I mean, I'm not going to tell you about it because, as I say, I don't like using these environments to sell, but to let you know that if you need those tools, they are there. Give a look, under leadership development, and then you go into individual leadership or individual resources or group resources, depending what it is you need. So what else could you be doing? What kind of other strategies could you be using to turn around this underperformance that, by the way, let me tell you, and I'm sure that you already know, people that are underperforming are suffering. They're suffering. And this suffering is not taking along, but it's shared. It's shared by the rest of the team. They also suffer when a team member is underperforming. Of course, I'm sure you have a certain level of suffering as well to see that your team is not at the level that you want them to be. And other people in the organization that need to be in contact with your team member or your team might be also suffering. So that's why it's so important. And that's why I love to focus on how to turn around underperformance, knowing through so many years and working with so many leaders that this is possible to do. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of resources in terms of, skills and in terms of money as well. And it can be turned around. So having that said, thinking about your leadership, see what is it that you could be doing differently. What is in your leadership? I'm sure you're a very good leader. And by the way, usually the people that attend these kind of events, the people that like reading, that like learning more, they are good leaders that can be even better. So there's no shame at all in wanting to be better. That doesn't mean you're not a good leader. Let me also share with you, we have developed this little book, especially for you that want to work with turning around underperformance. And this book is called 7 Actionable Strategies, because I like to work with things that are very actionable, very easy to use, don't take much time, don't take much money. So 7 actionable strategies to turn around underperformance. And here you will find, among other things, the 7 highest causes for underperformance. And we are explaining one by one what these causes are, how you can turn it around, and what positive effects it will give. So I hope you find this valuable. We have as well a short guide for managers and real life cases and some tips, some things that you could be doing and things that if you're doing, you might want to stop doing. We're offering this completely for free as a PDF. So if you're interested, it's just for you to get in touch with me or write down here in the comment fields that you would like the book. I would be more than happy to share this with you. The more people that we can help turn around underperformance, the more people's lives we're affecting in a positive way. And I'm sure you're one of those leaders, because that's why you are here with us today. Thank you very much for your time with me, and I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye.